So yes, my name is Erik. I'm the AI support lead at the IDA Data Hub. What's that? Well, we'll get to that. First of all, the problem we're tackling is kind of this. So this is a picture we often use when we talk about what we do, or what IDA do, I should say. So the idea is that, you know, there's a gulf between these two things. We have research and we have data, or rather, we have some area which might generate data, but it's the clinical wilderness. So our goal is really to send expeditions, or help expeditions who are sent into the wilderness to gather the valuable things back to this civilization. So a lot of what we do at the IDA Data Hub is trying to help, you know, let's say curate these treasures which have been brought from the wilderness, and perhaps also help the expeditions. So that's what I will talk about, and my colleague Betül will talk about the clinical data we have and we share. So if you need clinical data, we have high quality data sets, for imaging mostly. Also, Joel Pettersson will later talk about a lot of the challenges with this. You know, how do we go from the clinical wilderness to this civilization? And in this, you know, you have probably seen these kind of analogies, data as the new gold. Of course, that's wrong. Data is the new e-waste. And this might have been an analogy I've seen before. So you have something which is created as a byproduct of some other business process. It's often, when it's stored, perhaps no one actually took time to write down all of the ontologies about the data. You store it for some business purpose. Everyone in the business knows how they should treat the data. But the actual, all of this context which might be necessary for it to become more than waste is missing. Then it might change over time as business processes change, and it doesn't necessarily contain anything of value. So one of the great challenges, which I think, hearing you all talk here, I think you all share this, that generating value from data generated, let's say, in the clinical practice, takes a lot of effort. And it's analogous to setting up a recycling process. You have something which might contain valuable things. It's a byproduct of some process. To be able to use that, you need people who really know the data to tell you, you know, what here could actually be valuable. And then you need a lot of labor or effort to actually get the nuggets out of that data. And that I think we will hear more about when Joel presents later. And as I said, Betül will talk more about the data sets we have and how you might get access to those. One of the really interesting things which we at IDA want to do, though, is to also help facilitate, you know, taking what's been developed here in the civilization and make use of it in the wilderness. So developing the wilderness. And kind of one way to think about it is, ideally, it should be very easy to really iterate on this. So if we develop some kind of great diagnostics tool here, ideally it should be able to feed back and then generate new data in the wilderness, or the now developing wilderness. And this is often a huge challenge. So I would say that this is really not where we are, but our goal, at least at the Data Hub, is to help build a bridge over this chasm. So also we'll try to talk a bit about ways of trying to, you know, approach this. This is a vision, but this is really what we'll get to. So also we'll talk about this, you know, accelerating healthcare with you know, use of data, really. But before that, just briefly about IDA and IDA Data Hub, for those of you who don't know what that is. So IDA is a community which gathers a lot of researchers in medical imaging diagnostics. It's spread out all over Sweden. So we have a lot of researchers all over Sweden which are joined in a network trying to help and share knowledge. This is also partly funded by the MedTech for Health Strategic Innovation Program. So if you don't know IDA, please have a look at the IDA community's website. And then IDA Data Hub, we are support infrastructure for the IDA community. And the goal is really to promote research which is very close to clinical practice. So that is one of the main tenets of the IDA network, to try to make sure that what is actually developed in research is used in clinics. Another important factor in doing that is that we want to promote industry involvement as well. So typically the IDA projects which we want to support are typically triple helix projects. We have involvement from both industry, healthcare, and the research or academia. Then IDA Data Hub. So I am at IDA Data Hub. We also have our director of IDA Data Hub, Joel Hedlund, here. So if you have any questions about IDA Data Hub from a strategic point of view, ask Joel. So if you have any questions about AI and technology, you can ask me. So we provide a lot of services. One of them is, and for me at least, I think the data sets we provide are really important. We also provide primary storage and compute for sensitive data. And we provide support, so both in like policy support, but also in AI development support. And this is our team. So we have Caroline in the back here, who is the project lead for IDA. So if questions about IDA, she's the perfect person to talk to. So before I leave the word for Betül, I'll say a couple of things about our compute platform. So we have had for some time a small compute server, which is secure so that you can use it to process sensitive data. But our main effort at the moment is actually we're expanding and we're building a larger high-performance compute platform for sensitive data. So this is current effort. So you will hear, and the team is actually building the things themselves. So it will be a data science platform. So in difference from the previous system, which was really mainly used for really techie people, our goal is to be able to serve also people who might be more clinically minded. So I'm not going to read all of this, but essentially it's saying a lot of similar things as the previous slide. I realize now. But an important thing to point out is that a lot of the technology we're using for this to be able to for example, handle the project login and so on, authentication, a lot of it is based on the technology stack developed for the big picture project, which we'll talk a bit about later. And currently, we're setting the system up, but planned features are a remote desktop, so this will kind of be the default environment with which researchers interact with their data. It will be easy for a PI to delegate rights to datasets on the system. And also we would ideally want to have a really tight integration with the clinical systems. So that is something we're working with. And then one of the most important things, as I said before, with IDA Data Hub is really our data sharing. And here I would like to leave the word to Betül, who is our data sharing expert.
Yes, I'm Betül from IDA Data Hub, and I'm basically responsible for data sharing at IDA Data Hub. So what we do is we help researchers to make high-quality data sets more fair and citable using DOI and search engine optimized landing pages at IDA Data Hub. This means actually that if a data set is published on IDA Data Hub webpage, then it becomes findable, referable, and citable on research publications. We can also offer covering costs of extracting prioritized data to be shared on IDA Data Hub. And data controllers can choose to manage their own sharing, or they can delegate this process, like handling data sharing and paperwork, to us if they want. Yes, this is an example of landing page of a dataset we have been sharing on IDA Data Hub. Basically, on these landing page, we share some basic information about the datasets, like what is in the data and what is the size of the data and the organ and the authors and how to get access to this dataset and how to cite it if you make any publication using this data and so on. Yes. SCOPIS is Swedish cardiopulmonary bioimage study, and it is a nationwide and open access project which aims to predict and prevent cardiovascular and pulmonary diseases. And in this study, around 30,000 people has been investigated. And now, if anybody, any researcher apply for access to SCOPIS data, they can get access to a lot of parameters actually. And SCOPIS head offices manage this data sharing, this kind of like data sharing for these parameters themselves before, but they didn't manage to share CT scans of the project, so we agreed that we could share SCOPIS CT scans through IDA Data Hub. So we made the agreements, we transferred the data, and recently we have started sharing SCOPIS, the full set of SCOPIS core CT examinations through IDA Data Hub. This data is structured as 24 data sets corresponding to 4 CT examination types from 6 different SCOPIS sites. Yes, and this is the web page for access to SCOPIS datasets. Below that, actually, we list the datasets of SCOPIS. And here you can find some information like how to get access to the data and whom to contact with and so on. So the procedure is a little bit different than the other IDA Data Hub datasets. And these are the numbers that are datasets in numbers. So currently we have 48 datasets at IDA Data Hub, and like 11 of them are pathology datasets and 37 are radiology datasets. But recently we have also started sharing datasets which include synthetic data created by a generative AI model. Currently we have been sharing 2 synthetic datasets. One is synthetic brain tumor images from Linköping University, and the other one is synthetic brain aging images from KTH. Yes, we share data with researchers all around the world, and actually we are very proud of that. We have shared data with researchers from 41 countries so far, and data sharing events outside of Sweden is 229 so far. In these data sharing activities, currently we use some paper contracts and physical signatures, but Erik mentioned about that we are gonna have a new data science platform soon, and when we start using this data science platform, we will start using a new system which is called RAMS for data sharing. And in this system, researchers will make their own decisions, and that agreement signature things will be digital in the new system, which will make it easier and faster. Yes, at IDA Data Hub we also offer ethical, legal and policy support. So we support researchers if they want in sharing medical imaging data in an ethical and legal way, and we provide policy support for use of sensitive data for research, and we offer support to ethical review applications, and we also researchers can find some template agreements for data sharing and data transfer on IDA Data Hub webpage. And the data sharing policy is a comprehensive resource describing best practices for data sharing and handling for medical imaging data in Sweden and similar countries. So researchers can find some concrete guidelines and examples in the policy. And actually, a research paper, a paper from this policy has been published in Nature Scientific Data. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just to add, just to add, so as Betül said, we will actually use this system, this REM system, to easily share data. If you want more specifics about the technology, I think Joel Hedlund here, he's the person to talk to. So before I continue, there we go. One other project which is really important for us at ARIA Data Hub is the Big Picture project. So we lead one of the one of the work packages here, which is about building the database infrastructure. So a lot of the other things we talked about when it comes to actual serving data, we are part of building that. Big Picture is a huge effort to gather 3 million pathology slides, where 1 million is from humans. So it's vast amounts of pathology data. And what you could do that for training, for example, foundation models for pathology is just mind-blowing how important this will be. So the next presentation, so this is the consortium. Joel will talk more about big pictures and the challenges we have faced. Not just a challenge, but really one of the fundamental things which needs to be sorted out when exporting data from the clinical wilderness. So with that, I leave to Joel Hedlund. Sorry, Joel Pettersson. Sorry, Joel. Put you on the spot there.